Shall we get started? So thankful, first of all, for all of our students who are here today, ready to embark on our new project-based learning. I'm very thankful for all our guests, parents, and community members who are helping us kick this off right. As you know, my name is Mr. Elder. Project-based learning is something that was brought to our attention by Mr. Patton, and he encouraged us to try to look into issues with our students which would be most impactful. And working with Mrs. Ruth, Mrs. Roberts, and especially Mrs. Leroy, we decided last year to take a long, hard look at Maine's opioid epidemic. Some of those words may be foreign to you right now. Maybe you've heard about the opioid crisis in the news. It's not going to be foreign to you any longer, starting today. And one of the encouraging things that we try to remind ourselves as teachers is to not try to raise students who someday can make an impact, but rather view you as community members right now who can make an impact right now. So that's the mindset that we're coming at this from. In order to do that, we need to make sure that you are as educated as possible, as knowledgeable as possible on the topic. So together with Be the Influence and their director, Mrs. Laura Morris, we have a panel today of experts on the topic from law enforcement, from the medical field, from the state government, okay? We are taking this project extremely, extremely seriously. We have a lot of fun with it. We really push to use our imaginations as well, and you'll see how in a little bit. So it's not just about information. We hope this is also about transformation of our community over time. So without further ado, I just want to introduce to you the director of the local chapter, Be the Influence, Mrs. Laura Morris.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited. This is the second year, and the first one was phenomenal. We ended up bringing this to the national conference in Washington, D.C. We put you guys on the map. So are you guys going to be on the map next year? Yeah? We're going to bring you to new heights? Okay, that's awesome. Before we start, I think Mr. Elder had a good point. What do we know about opiates? I mean, I didn't even know that much until we saw that there was a real crisis. What are they? So let's test your knowledge a little bit, all right? I'm going to ask a couple of true-false questions. I have T-shirts for whoever answers them correctly, or at least tries, and just true-false. So let's see what we can do. Do we have a volunteer first? Right there. Okay, Mr. Metzman, come on down. All right, here's the question. True or false? Opiates are derived from poppy plants. True, yay, very good. Yeah, and we think, plants are natural and healthy and not harmful, but that could not be further from the truth. Same thing with marijuana. Okay, let's get a girl this time, right here. Heroin is an opiate. True, very good. Yeah, that's actually the natural derivative of an opiate. Here is the next question, which I'll take you right there in the back. You look so happy and wanting to answer. Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than heroin. However, do you know what fentanyl is?
Not really, but I believe it's music. I believe like the better words like heroin, cocaine.
Well, they're all really bad. Fentanyl is horrifically bad. It's a synthetic form of opiates, which means it's not natural. So do you think it's 50 to 100 times more potent? I think you're right. Very good. All right, so let's give these guys a round of applause. Here we go. Woo! We are so excited that the middle school took on this project. They've done such a great job. And we want you now to become the expert. Does anybody know who this is? Jackson Odell. Yeah, he was Ari, I believe, on the Goldbergs. Did you hear the Goldbergs music when you were walking in? That was the Goldbergs theme song. So he played Ari. He died at the age of 20, and it was from opiate misuse. So he was taken too soon, 20 years old, and he was a famous actor, and his whole life was ahead of him. Don't know if you know who this is. Heath Ledger? He played the Joker on Batman. Did you hear the Batman music when you were coming in? Okay, yeah, he played the Joker on Batman. Died at the age of 27, kind of the same thing. He went to bed and he overdosed on opiates as well. So we don't want that kind of thing to happen. It is a real epidemic in this society right now. 6,600 people in 2016 have overdosed, and almost all of them was because of opiates. So 12.2% right now at Windham High School have tried using opiates, thinking like it's kind of a fun thing. They see people using it. We want you to know how dangerous it is so that never happens to you. And most heroin users start with opiates. So what can you do? You can educate yourself, which is what you're going to be doing. You're going to find out what it does to your brain, your bodies. You're going to do projects. You're going to educate others. You're going to learn how to make your own newspaper articles. And you're going to help other people. You're going to teach them where they can go for help and learn yourselves. And you're going to have a lot of fun, too. So, taking back Maine's future. You can be part of the solution, can you? Oh, come on. Can you be part of the solution? Absolutely, and you're going to have a great time. These are some from last year. You recognize any of these kids? Do you see the real DeLorean car? It's coming back this year. That's the real DeLorean car from the movie. You'll be able to take pictures in front of it. I want you to know that this particular project, the kids last year, like we said, brought it to Washington, D.C. There you are, AJ and Mrs. Adams and Ms. Haven. They got so much recognition at the national conference, and so this is really exciting, you guys. You should be really excited to be part of it. We shared it with our legislators. You can see that's Angus King there, and that's Shelley Pingree. We got with Susan Collins. So we showcased all that Windham Middle School is doing. We're going to do it again. So it's your turn to put a lid on the opiate crisis. May the force be with you. Darth Vader? Wow, I feel like I'm in a different day and age. Okay, we could not be more excited, though, to get Mr. Gordon Smith to come here today. If you'd like to come up, we would love to introduce you. Appointed by Governor Janet Mills as the state's first Director of Opioid Response in January, he started his position February 4th. His responsibility is to direct and coordinate the many opioid response activities in the state and to chair the Prevention Recovery Cabinet. Before this, Mr. Smith served for 39 years in several roles at the Maine Medical Association, the last 25 as the Executive Vice President. He's a Maine native, grew up and graduated in Winthrop, and he got his undergraduate from the University of Maine and his law degree from the Boston College Law School. We could not be more thrilled to have you here today, inspiring these kids.
Well, thank you. Thank you very, very much for that kind introduction. And I couldn't be happier and prouder to be here and honored to help you launch this project for the second year. And the governor would want me to tell you that she's thrilled that you've chosen this subject. I think along with Medicaid expansion, it's Governor Mills' most important issue, and she and I have been working at this for a long time, but now we really have an opportunity to make some progress. And I think the fact that you're in the 7th grade and you have an opportunity to do this work now, it's a really appropriate time. Because while we talk about, the opioid crisis, it's not just about opiates. And you'll not understand as you do your project, you'll not get to the right conclusions probably if you don't realize that it's really about addictions, and it's really about finding out why people abuse substances in the first place. And why is the 7th grade a good place to start? Because actually that's where people start abusing substances. That if we start educating people in high school about this, we've missed the mark. So I can't tell you how many times I've heard of people who are in recovery whose journey down this path began with abusing alcohol, using alcohol when they were 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, nicotine, tobacco, vaping, marijuana, opiate pills, heroin, the whole 9 yards. And now they're very happy to be in recovery and to be over that hurdle. But it is not too early. And the other reason it's so important to do it now is that you've got your whole life ahead of you, and you have an opportunity to help the state of Maine, your home state, and anything that you can bring to the table that says, yeah, this is what each one of us can do to help prevent this crisis and help us get beyond it is important. The idea of envisioning a state of Maine where we don't have this crisis versus what it looks like if we're not able to fix it is incredibly important. So how serious is the problem? Well, I asked for a flip chart just I wanted to share some numbers with you. Laura almost stole one of my numbers, but it was not as updated as the number I'm going to give you. So 417, anybody know what that number represents? Anybody want to take a guess? Okay, that's the number of people in Maine who in 2017 died of a fatal overdose. That's well more than one a day. That's a lot of people. If you compare it to, it's way more than how many people died in automobile accidents. It's way more people, it's way more than people who died from homicides. In Maine, we have about 20, on average, we only have about 20 homicides a year. And unfortunately, more than half of those are related to domestic violence. The number 908, you want to take a stab at that? Yeah.
Last year's 2018,
No, that's good. That's a good guess. Cool. No, I'm actually pleased to tell you that the overdose numbers this year will come down a little bit, but that's not because the problem's solved by any means. It's really the fact that there's way more of the drug-saving, of the life-saving drug Narcan available out there. So we're saving more lives, even though probably more people, just as many people as ever are using. Okay, one more. Yeah. That's a great guess too. She said, how many people started last year with an addiction? 908 are the number of babies that were born in this state in and actually last year, 2018, whose mothers were addicted. And so that's almost 3 babies a day. We only have in the state of Maine 13,000 births a year. So 908 of those births, that represents about slightly over 7% of all the births in Maine. So that's a lot, and those babies go through a more difficult struggle at birth and beyond because if their mother is addicted and on opiates, that baby is also on opiates, and we need to withdraw that baby off of opiates. My last number that I want to share with you, well, it's 2 numbers. Let's start with this one, 58,000 people. I'm glad to have the participation, really. Up in the maroon, yeah. how many people, maybe across the country, got addicted in middle school? That's a good guess. It's not what I'm looking for, but yes, go ahead. How many people are addicted? Actually, there's way more than that. So I'm gonna just to move things along, because you've got a great panel to hear from today too. I'll tell you that 58,000. I want to just give you context for the next number I'm going to give you. 58,000 soldiers were killed in the Vietnam War. Our soldiers, United States soldiers. The Vietnam War, which you learned a little about in history, I was in college at the time. It went over a number of years, and it was a particularly devastating experience in this country, and it brought about a lot of civil unrest from people who were against the war. And so 58,000 deaths, very, very large number. But that was over a period of time of like 8 or 10 years. Last year in this country, 72,000 individuals died of an overdose death. Now only 46,000 of those approximately were from opiates. And so the other ones could have been cocaine, meth, other drugs that are not opiate-based. Nonetheless, that is a horrific number. You know, it means that in the time that I'm standing here, by the time I get done, 2 people in this country will have died of an overdose. So the fact that you've taken this on is just terrific. I've asked your organizers and teachers to be sure to invite me back for your graduating event in the spring, I assume. And if I'm going to help you start it off, I want to see it finished. Let me just conclude by again telling you how important it is that you're doing this, that there is hope. That while it's a horrific problem in the state, certainly the biggest public health crisis of our time, other states are seeing a decline in the number of deaths, a decline in the number of babies born addicted. And if we do the things that need to be done in education, in prevention, in what we call harm reduction, and in law enforcement, they all have an important role. We can fix this. I know you're going to hear from today from some people in recovery, and it's just terrific when people are able to recover, and then be part of their recovery is giving back and telling people, don't go through what I went. Don't ever start down that path. So while we're putting a lot of resources into treatment and harm reduction and law enforcement, the truth is, if we put more into prevention so that people never started abusing substances in the first place, and we were able to start addressing why people made that bad choice. Was it an adverse childhood event? Was it trauma in their life? There's a lot to be done, but you're going to learn a lot about it. We're going to learn from you, and I'm really proud that I could represent the governor here for you today, and I congratulate the school for doing this.
Thank you very, very much. Now we'd like to introduce our panel, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves as they go through, but if you'll just stand up here maybe. So this is a collection of some of the most wonderful people in your community that do fantastic things for prevention in almost all substances, but they're going to talk to you today a little bit about opiates and their involvement with that. And then we'll give you a little bit of time for questions. You have like you want to come maybe a little closer, maybe come up here, come to the middle. You'll get to ask them questions, and these are the gurus in your community. So think of, if you could get the answer to anything, what would it be? Here they are.
Hi, I'm Kevin Schofield. I'm the Chief of Police here in the town of Windham.
I'm Jonathan Sarbeck. I'm the district attorney here in Cumberland County. Does anyone have any idea what the district attorney does? What is it?
Through all the other attorneys that check through the people's case and stuff like that. I don't know.
Anybody else? Yeah. Yeah. So basically, when the police here have to make an arrest, if someone gets in trouble with the law, then that case comes to the district attorney's office, and we are the ones who prosecute that person.
My name is Bridget Rauscher. I work for the City of Portland, and I work in public health with Laura. And this is the second time I've been invited to this event, so I'm super excited to be here again. I run the Overdose Prevention Project for all of Cumberland and York County. So anything we can do to help you guys, we're really excited to have you on board and work in your community to prevent some of these unnecessary deaths. So really proud of you guys, and let us know if there's anything we can do to help your project.
I'm Bill Andrew. I'm a captain with the police department here in Windham. Like you guys, I sat in your chairs at one point here in Windham, and it makes me proud to see you guys taking a stand here to learn about the opioid epidemic.
My name is John Coistra. I'm a deputy chief with the Windham Fire Department. I oversee emergency medical services as well as training. I'm really excited to see this kind of turnout and see that this number of folks are interested in learning more about the opioid issue and how we can work on solving that.
Hi, I'm Nicole Ellis. I'm the project coordinator for Be the Influence. And also, I've been in recovery for almost 8 years, and April 18th will be 8 years. And I was in you guys' shoes one day, and thank you. Thank you. And my middle school, my school, they didn't cover anything to do with addiction in the curriculum at all. And I think had they done something as awesome as what you guys are doing, it could have really prevented a lot of people from going down the wrong path, because they really could have seen a visual of what, you know, it could be either way. And I'm really proud of you guys, and I think you guys are doing an amazing job. You should give yourselves all a round of applause.
Do you want to talk just maybe a little bit as to what you're seeing with the opiate crisis?
Thank you very much. I just want to take a minute to thank all of you students for the work that you're doing to help raise awareness to the opioid crisis that we're dealing with. And I just want to share a story about how I educated myself to become more involved in trying to help combat this situation. It was several years ago, and I've been a policeman for a long time, and I don't want you guys guessing, because you're going to guess older than I am, which is going to be even more depressing to me. And we're always pretty good about investigating drug violations and arresting people. That's a small part, though, of trying to make our society better and taking what's called a holistic viewpoint of this. So I took the opportunity to try to educate myself, and I started talking to a lot of people in medicine and recovery. And what I found out was this: I could meet a lot of neat people like Nicole that had gone through opioid use, a substance use disorder. It's an illness, and now they help us. They're an ally for us to help educate people and help treat people. And it's showed me, and I think a lot of people, that people are successful and productive, and we have to invest in doing that. The other thing I learned was about Narcan, and can someone tell me what Narcan is? Because I think everyone has 100 on the quiz so far, and I don't have a T-shirt to give you, but sorry. What is Narcan? It is. Narcan is a medicine that reverses the effects of opioid that impacts the way the brain talks to us to make us breathe. It puts to combat what's called a respiratory arrest. My officers and our firefighters in town, I'm proud to say, they buy in, they carry Narcan with them. And I believe it was last year we saved between 30 and 36 people with Narcan, right here in the town of Windham. That gives people a second chance. That gives people the opportunity to become productive and work with us and get them back to work, and a lot of positive things happen as a result of that. So that's another part of this. Prevention, though, is the key, and that's where you students, everyone in this room is so key. You guys growing up, you're the key to helping us with the third leg of this, and that's education and awareness and making good decisions. So, and I know, because Officer Sear is in the schools, that you have tools to make good decisions. So I just want to thank you again.
All right, so I got a question for all you that I better see a hand up for. All right, how many people here love something in this life? There's nothing that you guys love? All right, there you go, your dog. Anyone, I see some Bruins, some sweatshirts out there, some Patriot stuff. And why do you think you guys love that person or that animal or that sport or that place or anything? Any guesses? Brings you joy? Anything else? Makes you happy? Because you know you, okay, that's great, yeah? Because what? All right, Aroma Joe's taste good. That works too. Yeah, because basically they're happy to be with you and you're happy to be with them. And the reason is because there's something in your brain that makes you really appreciate that thing in your life, that makes you feel that love and that joy and that good taste and that good feeling. Now, what if I was to tell you that there's something out there that could alter your brain, that could change your brain, that you no longer thought of that as the love, that you were focused in on something else? Well, the reason I'm telling you that is because that's what these opioids, and that's what a lot of substances can do, is change your brain. Change your brain around, rewire your brain in a manner that is actually going to change where your priorities are. And what we do at the district attorney's office is that we're trying to get out there to prevent people from using these drugs because we want to educate them about the brain, about how it changes your brain and how it leads you down a path that where you didn't think you were going to go because you didn't understand what you were getting into at that time. So if I was to say, would you guys take something that was going to sort of change around what you thought was the love in your life? You probably wouldn't want to do that, right? Exactly, no more Aroma. No more Aroma Joes. But that's the reason that we need to get out there to make sure that you all understand what's out there. Because when I was a 7th grader and about your age, when I was playing basketball over here at Windham Middle School, we didn't have that. We didn't have the same problems that you guys are going to be facing when you're growing up. So if you don't have that understanding, you're not going to understand the problems and you're not going to be able to have those solutions. So I really appreciate all of you going to take on this task, and you had a great example last year, and I hope that you all take those measures to try to get out there to educate your own community, because this is our community. It's not us up here, it's not the people in the back, it's not the people outside this auditorium, it's all of us. It's all those people and yourselves. So very much thank you for what you're doing here, and if there's anything that we can do, if people down the road want to get those of us at the district attorney's office or in law enforcement or anybody in the Be the Influence group involved, we'll be happy to help. And I'm looking forward to coming back to seeing you all at the end of this project, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I just want to say, you guys, it's super cool that the district attorney really understands how drugs and things like that change your brain. That is not common, and we are really, really lucky. So very cool in 7th grade to know that. But I don't have any more questions for you because you guys are just killing the game. Do you have questions for us? We want to be able to help you. That's what we're here for. We want to be able to finish motivating you guys while you get through this project. So what questions do you have for us? How can we help you? That is an awesome question. And it's both. An opiate is one medication or one drug. Opioids are sort of the class, the grouping of them. So both. Other questions?
Do you guys know what opioids are? What if there's only one opioid, or are there a whole bunch of opioids? Yeah. What'd you say? Can you say a lot? Painkillers? You're right. So there's a whole, what's your answer back there? All right, yeah, you're right. And I'm gonna repeat what he said just to make sure everybody heard them. So there's a natural plant out there called the poppy plant, which is where the drug heroin came from. What these opioids are a synthetic version of that drug heroin, which is basically created in a lab. So if you guys take chemistry in high school, basically the formula is what they're making into these drugs. So even though they might have a different name, even though they might be called Percocet or Vicodin or oxycodone or OxyContin or fentanyl or carfentanil, they're all a derivative, meaning that they're all from the same sort of source, which is heroin. So you got to make sure that you understand what's out there.
Chief.
I don't want to keep acting correctly because the chief is right there. Hi, chief. But, John, would you like to answer some questions? You have some really interesting things coming in to this market. Sure. Tell a little bit about your
So I've been with the Windham Fire Department for a very brief time right now, just about a month, so I'm pretty new to the system. So I'm still like literally learning my way around the fire station. I did the first week actually get lost once. I ended up on the police department side, and they were kind enough to show me back to the side I was supposed to be on. So prior to that, I worked for the Portland Fire Department as a paramedic and a paramedic supervisor. So we saw a lot of overdoses, and we would see sometimes several overdoses a day. So you know, we've seen firsthand the impact that these overdoses have on individuals, families, their friends, their community, and quite literally on their lives and the folks around them, their lives as well. We started when we had this sort of latest surge in overdoses about 4 or 5 years ago now, and see that surge of overdoses sustained, meaning continuous. We realized that we really needed to sort of step up our game. We started to realize that we needed to get more involved. And so we started to do more outreach and more things like this. And I think that fire departments around the state as well as around the country are realizing that they have to do that as well. We work hand in hand with law enforcement. And now because of the ability for bystanders, for just sort of general population folks to actually have that drug Narcan available, we work with them as well in reversing overdoses and saving lives. But again, it's been talked about several times by several people. Here so far, education is key in getting folks involved, getting folks like yourselves involved as early as possible to understand what the problem is, the root causes of the problem, so that we can start to work together to help alleviate the problem or even resolve the problem is really important. So I'm really glad that you folks are here. What we also did in the fire department is start to put on classes in things such as Narcan administration. How do you actually do that as a bystander if you have Narcan available? As well as, unfortunately, chest compression only CPR. Because the end result, unfortunately, of an overdose, if it's left unchecked, meaning somebody who is not breathing long enough, then their heart also stops. And so then we have to intervene at that level, which means we have to not only breathe for that person, we also have to do chest compressions to get their heart going as well. And then it becomes very time critical. So having folks understand the problem, understand how to help folks who are having an overdose is very, very important in the moment. Does that make sense?
How about one more question? About the way
Go ahead. So that's a great question. I can answer that locally for the city of Portland. I wouldn't be able to answer that for the state or maybe for the country.
As far as the average age, I'd refer to Mr. Smith, or state average.
Well, the state average, it hasn't changed much. It's 41 years of age is the average age of an overdose victim in Maine. And with about 2/3 of those deaths being male and 1/3 female.
Captain Andrew, can you talk a little bit about Windham really quickly, because I know we need to wrap up, but just what we're seeing in Windham.
Well, I grabbed the mic because I apologize. I missed the question, then I got back in the game here. I just want to share a quick story. In the town of Windham, we've had a 17-year-old person that we saved with Narcan about 2 years ago. And about 3 years ago, we lost a 19-year-old victim to an opiate overdose. So I just wanted to share that story because, again, I don't know how old you're 7th grade, right? So you're about 12 or 13 years old, and I knew that off the top of my head. So I just want to reinforce the point. Solid decisions from middle school kids and high school kids is what's really going to help us out in society.
Wow. I'm pretty excited about this project. I know Mrs. Ruth and Mrs. Roberts are as well. Have you ever said to yourself, when are people going to stop treating me like a little kid and start talking to me like an adult? You ever said that? No? I'm hearing some no's, but I'm seeing a lot of heads go like this. Guys, we could choose a topic to share with you as teachers. And we could have chose litter. Now, don't litter. It's not good to litter. But you already know that. Do you want to do a 6-week PBL project about not leaving trash on the ground? No. So listen, if you've ever asked yourself, when are they going to start treating me like an adult? Right now. Guys, we're going to talk about the tough questions, and I hope you're ready. We're going to have a great time. There's going to be some really, really difficult conversations that happen. Tomorrow, Mrs. Roberts has been compiling, just from this year, clap once if you're listening, just from this year, news articles from the Portland Press-Herald. Okay? She's got dozens and dozens and dozens because it's in there every single day. Okay? This is a topic that we felt was so important, we can't shelter you from it. Okay? This issue is going to come for you whether you're ready or not, and we choose to try and help you be ready. Okay? The PBL is called Taking Back Maine's Future. It's going to really call for you to invest your time and energy and your imagination. And Mr. Vickers and I put together a little video to introduce how this project is going to go. Check out this video, everybody. Very beginning, and we are so excited to start on this journey again. We appreciate any input and support that you'd like to be part of throughout this whole bunch of research and project building that we'll be doing. So please stay in touch with us. Thank you, Mr. Patton, for the freedom to do this type of thing. And we just have very, very high hopes for all of you as we head forward into this. So with that, we'll close. Thank you so much.
We give recognition. Stand here, and AJ and Mrs. Rogers, would you come down, please? Because these are the three people who originated this project, along with Mrs. Leroy. And I just think what you have done is phenomenal. Would you give them a huge round of applause? Making a huge difference in this community and this world. So I think that's worthy of saying.
Hello, I'm Gordon Smith, Director of Opioid Response for the state of Maine. As we all know, the opioid epidemic has become a serious problem across the entire state. This winter, students at Windham Middle School participated in a PSA contest as a way to effect change in their community. Here are some samples of their work.
What is that?
Those are what lungs look like when you smoke a lot. See that white dot right there?
It looks like fungus.
Funny, Luke, it's not that, it's cancer.
Is that even a human's lungs?
It's actually a pig's lungs that was exposed to secondhand smoke.
What is secondhand smoke?
Secondhand smoke is when your lungs are exposed to smoke, but you don't smoke yourself.
Could you get addicted to smoking by secondhand smoke?
That's a question I had, but you actually can get addicted by secondhand smoke.
How? No nicotine is going to your brain.
Actually, if you breathe in the smoke someone to smoke it, you get all the same chemicals, just a smaller dose.
Oh, I heard someone say something about a natural high. What is that?
Natural high is something you're passionate about, like us in soccer.
Have you heard of that trend going around about electronic cigarettes? What are they called again?
Those are called vapes.
I heard one vape pod has as much nicotine as 20 cigarettes.
Those things are the worst. Your natural high or black lungs? You decide.
Hi, I'm Dominic Patel.
And I'm CK Kennedy.
And this is our youth PSA video.
I will not smoke, vape, or do drugs because I love ice fishing.
I will not smoke, vape, or do drugs because I love my family.
Drugs because I love ROTC. Hooah!
I will not smoke, vape, or do drugs because I love basketball.
What would you risk for drugs, vaping, and smoking? That is our natural high. What is yours?
Thank you for watching our PSA video. I hope you enjoyed.
Have you ever been watching TV or YouTube and then this commercial or ad pops up and it's talking about a really serious subject that's been going on in the world? Like maybe all the trash being dumped into the ocean, maybe drugs, maybe even poverty. And every single time you watched it after you thought, maybe I could do something about that. Today's the day, but you never do. The truth is, we're scared. We're scared to be the influence. We're scared to stand up. But for once, maybe we could stand up. And for once, just for once, we could fix things. And be the influence for others. And oh yeah, enjoy your movie.
vaping, smoking, doing drugs, and drinking alcohol from peer pressure from their others. Be careful who you trust because they could lead to bad bullying. Constant bullying could lead to people losing their lives. Bullying can lead to stress, which can lead to suicidal thoughts and doing drugs. And every time I think of bullying and peer pressure, I just want to stop them and make the world a better place.
Vaping. Vape pens aren't just water. They have many different harmful chemicals in them. Vape pen ingredients include raid bug killer and nicotine. 60 cigarettes worth of nicotine are in one vape pen. You can die of mouth diseases and lung cancer from just one puff of a vape pen. Smoking. More people die of the combined HIV, firearms, and car accident-related deaths each year than people dying of lung cancer from smoking. More women die of lung cancer from smoking than from breast cancer each year. A 12-pack of cigarettes has as much as 144 milligrams of nicotine.
Drugs and alcohol. Drugs and alcohol really opened my eyes up to how much goes on in the world. It's shown that drugs and alcohol are proven to kill you. In my opinion, it's taking over the world. Never do drugs and alcohol because it can ruin your future, your dreams, and your reputation.
Look at all these bad things people are choosing to do around the world. Do you want to be one of those people?
Choose the right answer. Really think about it.
Be the change of our generation!
Texas on the beat.
Dun, 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 dun.
Steak sauce. Steak sauce. Steak sauce. Steak sauce. Don't do cocaine. Cocaine ruins your brain. Don't do cocaine. It literally makes you insane.
Take it from a boy, steak sauce over here. Don't hold information I can, but I got information too. And that's one thing you gotta do.
And that's don't do cocaine. Don't do cocaine. Cocaine ruins your brain. Don't do cocaine. It literally makes you insane. Don't do cocaine. It makes you insane. Don't do cocaine. It ruins your brain.
So people, the facts about cigarettes are, it's like giving you a vegetable. It has 60% poison. And it can rush to the nicotine can rush to your brain in a matter of 7 seconds.
And it's like giving you a piece of chocolate or just giving you a million pieces of chocolate. You just keep eating them and it damages your body.
It can also damage your lungs to turn black. And then sometimes one side won't happen, like this. It's disgusting, right? So that's why we had interviews with some of our favorite teachers and our favorite teachers and citizens that care about smoking. So here's what drugs or anything like that.
So, Monica, I think for me, volleyball is a huge passion. I
respect for myself and other people would lose respect for me. I think that's the most important thing that I would give up. And it's just hard won. You have to really work hard to get people to respect you, to do the right thing as much as you can. Nobody's perfect.
So, Mrs. Adams, what is your favorite thing about teaching that you could never live without?
Possibilities for choosing things in your life that will give you the future and dreams that you desire. So make a difference.
That is perfect. Hope you liked our interviews.
One thing that can help you is having friends or a passion. Our passion is friendship. 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the funny videos.
Let's go make things happen.
Something to know. We all have one life to live and have fun in. When teens learn facts about smoking or vaping, they make the decision to usually stay clean. Tobacco kills more Americans yearly than AIDS, drugs, alcohol, car accidents, and gun violence combined. I choose to live a tobacco-free life. I want to have so much fun with my family and friends. Thank you for listening.
In 2002, 23,000 people died due to drug overdose. In 2017, 72,000 deaths were recorded due to drug overdoses. People think vape pens are not considered drugs because they're smoking, but it can be just as dangerous and health affecting. Peer pressure isn't that big of a deal, right? Wrong.
Peer pressure is such a big deal. It can be life-threatening just to make one wrong choice that you think is cool.
It's not mean to say no.
But if you say yes, it's not only disappointing to the people who taught you better, but it's disappointing to yourself.
You can do better.
Stay safe
and away from drugs.
I'm Nevaeh. And I'm Maddie. Next time you are at the store buying a pack of cigarettes, remember this video and what cigarettes can do to you.
Also, cigarettes waste your money. Thanks for watching our video on staying smoke-free.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the finer art. But I see it in you, so we go walk it out. And ooh, mountains, we go walk it out. And mountains, and I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. Hi, you did good. My chest has been killing me ever since after. I thought you said that you would quit vaping. Every time I try, it just makes it worse. It gets harder. Come on, Katie, we have to go.
Guys, I have some bad news.
What?
You've damaged your lungs. You can't sing anymore. I'm sorry.
Why do you always wear the same clothes? You need to fix your hair.
Because I like my clothes and I like my hair and I'm not going to change it.
Bye, loser.
Bye.
Hey, how are you today?
Please leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you right now.
Cheer up. Go away. Just leave me alone. So how have you been lately?
I'm pretty good.
How has she been lately?
Good, I guess. She's a little sad, but
What's making her sad? Have you been taking anything?
maybe just a little.
What have you been taking?
Opioids.
Okay. Do you know why?
Because I'm getting bullied at school.
Okay. Maybe we could help to stop using the opioids and maybe getting you to talk and using your voice to talk up to bullies.
Okay.
You got that?
The stars before you left, how light can